Pedro Romero, and I'm a solution consultant at ServiceNow. And today it's my pleasure to introduce a new feature coming out with our Vancouver release surrounding how we can help your organization optimize your Microsoft and Adobe spend using system insights and recommendations. Before we dig in, we do have a safe harbor notice. Please note that we might have some forward-looking statements, so feel free to pause this if you need to. But let's go ahead and kick things off, and really let's set the stage with when it comes to Adobe and Microsoft, organizations really are tasked not only to just stay on top of compliance, but also figure out where they can optimize spend. So because of that, we introduce decision support to identify and even be able to act on savings opportunities. So with Microsoft, we're providing recommendations to ensure that there's optimized usage and spend across M365 and O365. Previously, we were able to support certain SKUs, but now with Vancouver, we support all SKUs for M365 and O365. And as far as some examples of what we can do in terms of decision support, well, we can provide recommendations, for example, on when to downgrade from M365 or O365 Enterprise E5 to E3, or from E3 to E1, or maybe even identify where you have dual licenses or overlap with a user that has M365 and O365, or even help with consolidating subscriptions based on suite, right? And all of this will have some insights and reclamation candidates to go in and take action. From an Adobe perspective, we're introducing calculated recommendations for Adobe cost savings across single app and all app subscriptions. So based on usage that we're pulling in from, say, Jamf, SCCM, or even our own agent client collector, we can determine where we have users who have an all app subscription, but really they have less than 3 products. So maybe just a couple single app subscriptions makes more sense. Or let's say a user has multiple single app subscriptions. Maybe instead we should give them an all app subscription. These are the kinds of insights that the system will provide. And again, it will create those reclamation candidates to go in and allow you to take action. With that said, let's jump into our demo. And so under our software asset workspace, we have this software asset analytics view here. And in this, we have a tab for optimizations and savings. And so this is where we can gain those insights into our M365 usage and optimization opportunities and recommendations. And same goes for Adobe. So now we have a place to go in and track what work can be done to optimize our spend, even if we're already compliant with these vendors. And then with that, let's go ahead and take a look at just how we drive these kinds of recommendations. So first, we're going to take a look at Microsoft. Let's take a look at our Microsoft subscriptions. So here we have our Microsoft subscriptions, and you can see that Alicia here, she has M365 E3 and O365 E5, right? So because of this, the system's going to say, you know what, this doesn't make sense. This is something that we should consolidate. So now the system is going to create a removal candidate. So I can go to our removal candidates, and this is going to show me all the removal candidates that are being generated as recommendations from the system. And so for example here, we have one to consolidate Microsoft subscriptions. And if I open this up, this is going to take me to Alicia's subscription situation, where here again she has O365 Enterprise E5 and M365 Enterprise E3. These were assigned to her. So now what the system is doing is it's saying, hey, we should likely reclaim both of these, okay? Because in total we're spending $74 on these 2 subscriptions, when in reality we can just give her an M365 Enterprise E5 subscription for just $57, which would allow us to save $17 on just this user alone, right? Once you scale that across all your users at your organization, you'll start to get a sense of the kind of savings that you can achieve through these kinds of recommendations. On top of that, if we go back to our removal candidates, another example is, hey, let's downgrade a user from, let's say, E5 to E3. So in this example, we understand that E5 requires a lot of different suites of tools that aren't necessarily included in E3, like Power BI. So what we're doing is, based on Power BI usage, we're giving the recommendation to take back their M365 Enterprise E5 subscription and provide just an M365 Enterprise E3. So a simple downgrade that can let us get $21 for this user alone, based on, again, they're not using their current subscription to its full potential. So in that case, again, we could be compliant with Microsoft, but that's not to say there isn't opportunity to continue saving money and optimizing spend. And this is just another example of how we do that. Now let's take a look at Adobe. So here we have all the subscriptions that we have with Adobe Creative Cloud. And let's take a look at a specific user. So here we're going to look at Kirsten Marshall, and she has a Creative Cloud All Apps subscription currently assigned to her. So this is giving her access to multiple Adobe applications. And what we're going to look at now is what is actually pulling in from, let's say, Jamf or our Agent Client Collector in terms of installations. So she has a Creative Cloud All Apps subscription, and based on, again, Jamf or our Agent Client Collector, we're pulling in that software is installed on her MacBook for these 3 different applications. Now, this is great, but how do we know if she's actually using this? Would we find reason to pay for an all apps subscription if she wasn't using all 3 of these effectively? So with that, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the software usage that's associated. And so here, for those 3 different products that she has installed on her MacBook, we have the last use time, again, that could be pulled in from Jamf or AC's Agent Client Collector. So here we're looking at the last use time, and we're seeing here that she has used Photoshop and Acrobat pretty recently, but it's been a while since she used Illustrator. Now, we could have gone in and done that analysis and figured that out, but don't worry, the system already did that. So if I go over here, we can take a look at our removal candidates for Adobe. And here, what it's recommending is to remove Adobe Systems Creative Cloud based on low usage. So here, for Kirsten, we have, again, the subscription that she has today, which is an all apps subscription. But based on her not fully utilizing 3 applications, we could probably instead just give her 2 single app subscriptions for Adobe for those 2 applications that she actually was using. So what we're going to do here is we're going to reclaim her all app subscription, and we're going to instead assign those 2 single app subscriptions for Acrobat and Photoshop, which she was using, and this is going to help us save $20 for Kirsten. And again, scale that against your entire organization. That's how we're getting quick wins in terms of cost savings and ROI. So all in all, this is helping reduce the headache it takes to determine where you can continually optimize spend. And therefore, it's allowing you to not only get more value out of your purchases, but also get more value out of ServiceNow software asset management, more tools in your tool belt to go out and find ways to save money. So hopefully you all saw some value from understanding how to better optimize your Microsoft and Adobe spend. Please continue to check out some additional features in Vancouver. And again, my name is Pedro Romero, and it was my pleasure to walk you through our Microsoft and Adobe optimizations.